Hi, my name is Lynette, and I am a certified professional resume writer here at the Career Center of the East Baton Rouge Parish Library. Today, I'd like to talk to you about how to write networking letters. So, networking, as we have said in previous videos, is a key part of the job search, one of the most useful tools in your job search toolkit. When we say networking, what we mean is reaching out to your contacts, your connections, the people that you know, and asking them for help. You might be asking them for an introduction, a letter of reference. You might be asking them for advice with your job search or ideas for leads or insider information on the company that they work for. There are all kinds of things that you can ask of the people that you know that will help you with your job search. This is one of the most neglected areas for a lot of job seekers because it can be really difficult to ask for help, but it makes an immense difference. So let's take a look at how to do it. This is a sample networking letter that we're going to refer to throughout today's presentation. This letter comes to us from the book Modernize Your Job Search Letters, which is an absolutely fantastic book with sample cover letters, networking letters, thank you letters, and more. Excellent recommendation. So let's talk about how to ask for help. To begin with, you want to start your letter by reestablishing your connection to this person. Now, if this person is somebody that's a close friend or family that you talk to frequently, this part might not be necessary. But if you're reaching out to somebody that you haven't been in contact with for a while, such as a former coworker or a former supervisor, it's a good idea to remind them of who you are and what their connection to you is, and also let them know what you've been up to lately. Our sample networking letter does an excellent job of this. It begins by saying, "Dear Roger, it's been some time since we last worked together at GE, and I'd like to reconnect. I currently work for Baker Hughes in a high-risk area of Iraq, managing a $350 million client portfolio." It's a small, little detail to say, "Hi, remember me? We used to work together at GE. I wanted to get back in touch with you. Here's what I've been up to lately." Next, you want to make sure that you tell your contact exactly how they can help you. A lot of people, when they do ask for help with a job search, stop by just saying, "Help." They might post a Facebook status that says, "I need a job, can y'all help?" That's just not enough. You're not giving your friends and family enough information to really help you. Be specific with what you're looking for, what kind of assistance you're looking for. Are you looking for advice on the job search? Do you want help putting together a resume? Do you want knowledge about a certain company or certain industry? Do you want an introduction to someone who can tell you more? Do you want a letter of reference? What is it that you're wanting this contact to do for you? The more detail and specifics you give them, the more likely it is that they're actually going to be able to help you. Mr. Richards does an excellent job of this in his letter. The final sentence of the first paragraph says, in bold, so it stands out, "I ask you to consider sharing my name, skill set, and accomplishments with your robust network of respected colleagues and friends." So this is what I want you to do with me. I want you to put my name out there. I want you to reach out to the people who are in this industry and tell them, "Look, I know this guy, here's his skill set, here's what he can do. You should maybe set up a meeting with him." You also want to make sure that your networking letter gives detailed information. Again, the more specific you are, the more likely your contact can actually help you. You do want to be specific with what you want, what kind of help you want. You also want to be specific about what industry you're in, what kind of job you're looking for, and most important, what skill set you bring to the table. If your contact does reach out to his friends to talk you up, he needs some talking points. He needs some things that he can point to and say, okay, my friend has done this and this and this, and these are really impressive things, and you should interview him. Mr. Richards does an excellent job of this as well. We can see he has here a bullet-pointed list, and the bullet points help it stand out and pop, of his greatest accomplishments throughout his career. He collected $65 million worth of outstanding payments. He had a 5-year business plan that grew his company from $200 million to $2 billion. These are really impressive achievements. He's applying for an upper-level executive job, so he needs really impressive achievements. But anyone has achievements from their career, things that you've done that you can be proud of, skills that you have that a company might be looking for. These are things that you want to make sure that you include in your networking letter. Next, let's talk about structure and formatting. How long this letter is, and especially how formal this letter is going to change depending on the circumstances and the context. If you are sending this networking request to a professional contact, a former supervisor, for example, it's probably going to need to be fairly formal. But if you're reaching out to a close friend, family, if you're writing this letter to your mom or your high school roommate, it can be a little bit more casual. For a professional contact, you want to have this be an emailed document. You want to reach out to them by email because that's probably the most professional form of contact. But if it's someone that you know personally, you can reach out by calling them, you can text them, you can send them a Facebook message. That's absolutely fine because it's a less formal, more casual conversation with a friend. If you do send an email request for assistance, you want to make sure that your signature at the bottom of the email includes your email address, your phone number, your LinkedIn profile. You want to make it easy on the person receiving this so that they can get back in touch with you without having to hunt down your information. And you want to make sure that you attach your resume so that the person that you're asking for help can see all of the great skills and accomplishments that you have and can talk up those points to a hiring manager. Next, I'd like to talk about informational interviews. This is a specific subcategory of networking. An informational interview is a chance for you to learn from an insider or an expert about a certain career path, about a certain company, something like that. It's basically a chance for you to sit down with someone who knows more than you do about a certain subject and pick their brain to get information that could help you in your job search. Now, you could ask for an informational interview from a friend or professional colleague, someone that you know. You can ask them to give you information about their new company that they work for, or about an industry that they're in that you're looking to move into, and ask for more details about that industry, how to get started in it, for example. You could even ask for an informational interview from a second-degree connection, someone you don't know personally, but someone who's a friend of a friend. So first, you write a networking letter asking your friend to give you the name of somebody that you could talk to. And then you write an informational interview request to that person, asking them if you can sit down and talk with them and pick their brain a little bit. It's very important that when you write informational interview requests, you are not asking for a job. Make that clear. You're not trying to get them to give you a job. You're asking for information. You want to know about the company that they work for or about the field that they're in. How do you get started in it? How do you make a good impression? What sorts of things are hiring managers looking for? This is information that's going to help you in your job search. But if you write this sort of letter sounding like you're begging them to give you a job, that's going to be a little bit off-putting. You want to make sure that when you reach out to somebody requesting an informational interview, you're very specific about what you want. What sort of questions do you have for them? And also give them some idea of your skill level and experience level in this field so that they know how best to prepare and where to start. This is an example of an informational interview request written by a Mr. Trevor Harris. This is from the same book mentioned earlier, Modernize Your Job Search Letters. We can see here that Mr. Harris is writing an excellent informational interview request. Here are some of the things he's doing right. He begins by saying, at yesterday's Los Angeles Venture Association Forum, I was fortunate enough to meet Sarah Williams, who suggested I reach out to you for insight into Silicon Beach tech startups. He begins by talking about the mutual connection, introducing himself and the connection he has to this person he's writing the letter to. I met your coworker at a networking event yesterday. She said I should talk to you. He then continues, having recently relocated to LA, I'm beginning to expand my network within the Silicon Beach community and gather more information on startups here. He's being very specific with what he wants. Twice now, in the first 2 sentences, he has said he wants information, not a job, information about Silicon Beach tech startups. So very specific about what he wants and what he's looking for. Later on, he identifies himself as being a VP of Business Development and being passionate about B2B startups. So he talks about his own experience, his own skill level, so that the person reading this letter gets an idea of who he is, what he's about, and what sorts of questions he might have. Finally, let's discuss the wow factor, the things that you can do to make your networking letters, your informational interview requests, your asking for help, really excellent letters and compelling reasons for people to help you. First, you want to make sure that your letter addresses your readers' needs and interests. You want to speak to them. You're asking these people for help, so you want to start by getting on their good side and hooking them in. Flattery can be a very useful tool here, but generic, vague flattery is going to sound insincere and is not going to help you. If you choose to flatter the person, make sure that it's specific. For example, our first networking letter says, I've always admired your ability to judge situations fairly. I trust your advice. He's reaching out to his former colleague saying, I've always thought these wonderful things about you. You're a great judge of character. I trust you to do this well. This is going to make the person that he's contacting feel very happy and warm towards him and want to help him. Mr. Harris does the same thing in his informational interview request. He's reaching out to a stranger, so that may make it more difficult to flatter sincerely, but he does a great job. He says, from your LinkedIn profile, I see that you have extensive startup experience. Haha, I've checked you out online. I see that you're an expert in this field. I could really benefit from talking to somebody who knows so much. This is going to make the person he's writing the letter to feel very proud and wanting to help, wanting to show off that knowledge. You want to make sure that you offer to return the favor in some way. When you write a networking letter, you're asking for help. It's only decent and logical to offer to help the person in return in some way. For example, when you send out an informational interview request, you can offer to take the person out to lunch, offer to treat them. When you ask a contact to help you with your job search, you can say something like, I would be happy to return the favor in any way possible. How formal you get with it could depend on how well you know the person. If you're reaching out to a friend, for example, you could say something like, if you introduce me to your friend who works for my dream company, I will help you move. Say something that lets them know that you're not just begging for a favor, that you're willing to help them in return. You want to make sure your letter is typo-free and easy to read. This, of course, is a duh level thing. Of course you need to do this. You need to make sure that your document is professional looking, that it's not full of typos. Even if you are reaching out to a friend or casual acquaintance, in this scenario, you still need to be well written and have good grammar. And of course, you want your request to be easy to read. If it's a giant wall of text, a person is not going to wade through that to try to figure out what you want. Keep your sentences and paragraphs short. You want to end your letter with a concrete call to action. You want to let them know what the next step is in the process, what you're expecting will happen now as a result of you having sent this letter. Both of our letters do an excellent job with the call to action. Mr. Harris's informational interview request ends by saying, "Which day this week or next would be most convenient for me to stop by your office?" He says, "Which day this week or next can I come see you? I want to come see you in person. When can we make this happen?" It's a very proactive, very assertive way of ensuring that some sort of action will be taken. All right. This concludes our presentation for today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like. If you'd like to see more content from us, please hit the subscribe button. And if you have any further questions or would like more information on these topics, give us a call at the Career Center or come by in person to the main library at Goodwood. Thank you.